Coloring Crypto.
You know, it's a funny story. When I first started working with the team here at Satoshi, at the time I was very involved in blockchain.
Welcome to Coloring Crypto, folks. We've been off the air for the longest time since we started, and there's a reason for that. We have been focused, realizing, you've been a great listenership, we've been growing, and you've been leaving reviews, which is all great, but to get really exposure in cryptocurrency for a podcast, we've got to get some big-time guests. And today is pretty exciting. We've got a big-time guest, probably the biggest we've had since we started. This guy, today's guest, was involved in the $29 million donation that a lot of the Ripple folks donated to the schools. It was donorschoose.org. He was involved in the founding of Coinbase. There's a real possibility that he was involved with the group, the Satoshi group, back when Bitcoin was created. So there's a lot of great stories. Now, we had to set this up over a secure line. As you can imagine, this guy's got a lot of crypto, is a big target for a lot of scammers and that kind of thing. And so anyway, I've got Dan on the line. Dan's our producer. Do you want to add anything, Dan, about how we were able to get this guest?
Well, obviously, we don't want to give too much information away about his whereabouts. But we had to meet in a parking garage, 6 floors underground.
God, it sounds like Deep Throat. Dan is in his 20s. Is this reference to Watergate? I'm not sure if you got that one. Okay, so have we got him on the line? We can bring him on.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Okay, let me just switch to that.
Hello.
Is this Shitomi?
This is Shitomi.
Well, we are so excited to have you on our podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Listen, it is my pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Just I gave a little bit of intro, but just for our listeners, can you give us your background?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Shitomi Nakamormoni, and I have been kind of an entrepreneur in multiple various industries. Lately, it's been a lot of tech industry. Certainly, I've spent some time in biotech, and I'm always looking for ways in which to, bring value not just to my shareholders, but really to the world.
So I understand, you've got a long history in cryptocurrency, but you're also coming on today to announce an initial coin offering. Before we get to that, can you just tell us a little bit about how did you first get involved in cryptocurrency?
Okay, let's see. It was, I want to say maybe 2005, 2006. I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman, Satoshi. This was, it was the winter time. It was 2005. We were together. We were having some drinks and sharing a steak tartare. And he kind of gave me a little bit of insight into what he was thinking about, what he was working on. And that's really what started it for me. I got very excited by that initial introduction.
Wow, so that's incredible. I mean, so are you still in touch with Satoshi?
We text like every other day. I haven't spoken with him in a while, but yeah, absolutely. We're talking.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing.
Blockchain.
What did you see as an opportunity that now you'd be launching, an ICO?
It's a funny story. When I first started working with the team here, Satoshi, at the time I was very involved in laundry, and it was a coin operated laundry facility in central New Jersey. And what I felt at the time was that there was more demand in the system than I was able to capture. And it really felt like the actual coins were part of the problem. And if I could just find a way to kind of move from actual coin to digital coin, that I could really unleash a lot of the value in that ecosystem. And that's where those initial conversations with Satoshi really got started. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but we just had such an amazing conversation. We were diverted a flight. We were in a flight. We were diverted. We spent the night in Cleveland, and it was from there that a lot of these initial ideas and the culminations of a lot of other factors that have been going on really kind of created this opportunity for me. As obviously from them we have expanded beyond coin laundry facilities, and now we're really looking at more of a platform for expansion and communication, kind of a Facebook kind of platform, but with more of a Google type scale, and that's kind of where we're pointed today.
And you had mentioned, in some notes as we were preparing for this, that it was, not only kind of like a Facebook platform, Google scale, but you're also including artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. Like I guess tell us about your ICO. What's this new coin?
Okay, so it is certainly kind of an IoT AI kind of play. The comparisons to Facebook and Google, I mean, they're obviously very flattering, but really where we're focused is on that part of the ecosystem. What we are looking to do is really looking to add value back into these kinds of environments. We're doing that through efficiency. We're doing that through focus, a lot of focus on our shareholders. We're looking to kind of create a platform using a lot of advanced technology and a lot of very interesting monetization mechanisms to unleash a lot of that demand that I initially saw was latent in this, or was not available in the system, but I believe is available today. And a lot of people have come out and have been very vocal on Twitter and others about our approach to double spend and the way in which we feel that is an inherent attribute of the ecosystem in measuring demand side. And so, that's really where we're focused today.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll have to get back to that double spend comment. I'm not sure I totally get that, but let's get back to that. So give us a little more sense of how about, we just did an interview with some of the Hashgraph folks that are presenting a competitor to the blockchain as a technology. Like what are you guys using to underlie to kind of build this on top of?
Well, blockchain for sure. Hashgraph also probably. We have lots of ledgers. They're all over the place. I mean, I've got ledgers in China. I've got ledgers in Canada. I've got ledgers. A good friend of mine who I was on a yoga retreat with in Zimbabwe. I've got ledgers in Zimbabwe. So lots of different technologies, lots of different capabilities that we're bringing to market.
Wow, this is completely new. So definitely have heard of this kind of a merging of all these technologies. Really interesting. So, like, how if people are listening and they want to get involved in the ICO, like what can you tell them about the opportunity to get involved in this? Like, why should they pay attention?
Well, I think what they need to do is to follow Twitter, to make sure that they are plugged in and following both me, that is Shitomi Nakamormoni, as on Facebook, as well as Google Plus and other activity, other places. People who want to be engaged in this enterprise, who are interested in guaranteed returns, who want to see a vesting period that is 5 years or maybe shorter than 5 years, to contact me through Facebook, through Twitter directly, and we can start kind of determining the best way to plug you in and start getting return coming back your way.
So that's interesting. I read in the white paper that you sent over that you're guaranteeing returns to investors, which sort of begs the question. I mean, is security or a utility, and how is the SEC? How are you dealing with the SEC?
Well, so I have a bunch of very good friends at the SEC, and I have it on extremely high authority that we are going to be offering this as both a utility and a security. And so, when we say token, what we mean is token as a utility and as a security. And again, I think, speaking to some of those earlier points, this is where we really want to unleash value in the double spend part of the equation.
So I gotta ask, for people that are listening, that may not have heard of you. I think a lot of listeners probably have, but how can people, who is advising you on this? Who do you have kind of on your team that people can kind of rest assured that this is legit and everything? And this space is just so full of scams and corruption. How do we know you've got a team that we can sort of trust?
Well, already I've told you that I am exchanging text messages on a regular basis with Satoshi and have been for a decade or more. Not everybody knows him, so it's. I understand that there might be some trepidation. However, have you ever heard of Ryan Gosling? Have you ever heard of 50 Cent? Have you ever heard of Katy Perry? These are some of the people we are now working with to help not only, tap some of their business acumen, but also to leverage their social media platform to really grow this endeavor. And last week, Katy Perry introduced us to, I'm not sure of his name. He's Backpack Boy. He's a kid. He did the dance move on Saturday Night Live. He really wants to be involved. I'm not sure we're ready to go down market with our kind of celebrity portfolio at this time, but just to give you a sense of a lot of the interest that's being generated.
Wow, and I also noted you've got on your advisor team Miko Matsumura. Is that right?
That sounds right.
God, I don't even know where to go with this. There's so many questions. So what about being on an exchange? Have you guys a lot of questions people have about a new cryptocurrency is will it get listed on an exchange? Have you guys been thinking about that?
Guaranteed. We are guaranteed to be listed on an exchange. We're on Coinbase today, and I'll personally guarantee exchange listings. It's so in the bag. I have it on very high authority. My friend in the government has cleared the path for me, and McAfee, my friend in Zimbabwe, my yoga friend in Zimbabwe, has also given me very strong assurances that this thing is guaranteed for listing.
Wow, that's a lot of guarantees. So we're gonna have to go back and do some research on this. But what else can you tell us just about from your perspective in this long history with cryptocurrency? What can you tell us? What else is going on in this space we should pay attention to?
Well, there is obviously the nascent buildup of all the different players in this space, and so there's a lot to keep on top of. I recommend that you follow us on Twitter. That we're going to be kind of plugged into a new analysis firm, Cambridge Analytica, who's helping to kind of build some of this momentum for us on Facebook. There are things like bounty programs and airdrops and others that we're going to be leveraging to kind of get the message out here. But what I really want people to take away from this conversation is, our target into the U.S. Consumer market and customer market, our returns. We're guaranteeing 5, 10x returns. We are guaranteeing listing on an exchange. The holding period is 5 years. The vesting period is 5 years, and we are well. I'm not quite sure how we're going to implement that part, but the other things that we think are important in the space, and I can't say this enough, is that it's very important for all of our investors to make a lot of money. That's the number one thing. However, while we are building value for our shareholders and our investors, we also want to do things to make the world a better place. And so some of this technology is not only focused on returns, but it's also focused on autism for, babies, and, Crohn's disease for very old people, and also climate change for the people of the world. So it's not just about money. It's of course that has to be a part of the equation, but it's also about making the world a better place.
This is a unique thing that we haven't really heard of before, and the whole SEC thing, that's going to be interesting. Is this something that U.S. customers can actually get involved in?
Yeah, absolutely. This is focused on the U.S. market today. Of course, we'll have a global component, but U.S. customers can absolutely get involved. And like I say, follow me on Twitter, and I can tweet out some of the ways in which you can get directly involved in the next few days and weeks.
Shitomi, I really appreciate you coming on. I know your time is very valuable. Thank you so much for being a guest on Coloring Crypto. How do folks tell us the name of the coin, and how do folks get involved in this?
You get involved through following me directly. The name of the coin is April Fool's Coin.
Coloring Crypto.
April Fools, folks, from Coloring Crypto. Thanks so much for listening. Leave us a review, and look forward to catching you next time.